What is up, everybody? Sven Diesel here. We are going to be making some Christmas tree fly ornaments for your Christmas tree. Say that 10 times fast. But anyway, we are in the Christmas spirit, and we're going to be using a Mustad hook. This is a 9XL. In a size 2, we're using some Semperfli classic wax thread in a 6/0. You're welcome to go heavier because we're going to be using some deer hair, but we're going to go ahead and start this thread towards the end of the hook, and we will wrap it backwards towards the bend, and then we're going to grab some brown chenille and we're going to tie it in. I'm going to be speeding up part of this video. Otherwise, these take me about 30 minutes and nobody really wants to watch that in live time. So we'll go ahead and tie this chenille in after we expose the core, and we will get our thread up to not quite the halfway point, but pretty close. You got to remember, we're going to add a little bit of the tree stem here, and I'm going to lay down a little bit of this cement just to hold this chenille in place, because we're going to be pushing the deer hair against it, and I don't want the chenille to, of course, slide down into the bend. And so that's a little bit of a technique trick there if you don't want it to be moving on you, and we're going to be pushing hard. So let's go ahead and wrap this chenille. We're going to use touching wraps all the way up to where our thread ended, and then we will go ahead and tie it off with some wraps behind and some wraps in front, and then we'll go ahead and trim off the excess. I cut that a little bit too close, but you're welcome to use more if you want to make it easier to wrap. For this, we're going to be using some green deer hair because most of the trees I see are green, and so we'll go ahead and normally I cut this down on a flat table. Makes it a little easier to get it right up against the hide, but we're going to grab a good clump there and we'll trim it out. Be as comfortable as you want with how big of clumps you use. We want more, of course, down here at the base, so if you're not comfortable grabbing a bigger clump, go ahead and do 2 sections. Or repeat this process twice. If you're comfortable with a big chunk, go ahead and do that. But we're going to go ahead and stack this in a large deer hair stacker, and then we will go ahead and size it up. I don't quite need this length, but we'll go ahead and trim them so they're flush. I'll get a really tight grip on it, holding it at a 45-degree angle towards the hook shank, and we will go ahead and wrap over it 2-3 times with loose wraps, and then I'll begin to crank down. Remember, this is a 6/0 thread. If you want to really crank it down, go ahead and use like a 3/0 or get a GSP or a nano silk. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to basically spin it around the hook shank, and we're going to add a few tightening wraps as we spin it, and then I will push it back against that chenille so it kind of flares it up, making it very, very tree-like or lifelike. And then we'll go ahead and clean up that little buck section, and then this is my favorite part. We're going to be making Christmas tree lights, and so we are using some 30-pound mono, and we will go ahead and grab some of these little glass beads here, and I will put it on, use a lighter, get it so it starts burning. If it lights on fire, just go ahead and blow it out real quick, shove the bead on while it's nice and liquid. Be careful not to burn yourself, and then just trim it so it's at a workable length, about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. And I like to make these in advance so that when we're tying this, we're not sitting here making each Christmas tree light. You could also go about this a bunch of different ways, but as you can see, I like to bend the mono so that it kind of flares out already. The deer hair will support it, but I like having it push out a little bit so it's a little bit more visible, and you'll see how as you tie these and get more up into the head of the fly, the lights really need to kind of push out. And I'm going to speed up this whole process. The only key thing you're doing here is the same thing over and over again, doing it as full as you want, but each time you're trimming the deer hair a little bit shorter so that it tapers. I like to put a little bit of this Straggle chenille here, right here, just to kind of add a little accent at the top. You're welcome to use dubbing. You don't have to do this at all, but we'll go ahead and clean this up, add a little collar here, and then we will go ahead and tie it off with some wraps behind and some wraps in front, and then we'll make sure to kind of try and suck that tag end up into the cone, and then we'll of course do a few turns just to clean that up. Then we'll do a 3-turn whip finish, and this is not a fly we're going to be fishing, and so I'm just going to do a 3-turn whip finish and call it good. You're welcome to do more if you're going to plan on fishing this. However, profile wise, I would probably do the tree in reverse if I was going to fish it and treat it like a popper, but who knows, this might catch some fish if they can get through this deer hair to the hook point. But go ahead and use a bodkin and pick it out, and we are there. But here's a little trick: we're not done yet. You could go ahead and give this as a gift as is, but we're going to use some of this thin wire, and we will go ahead and insert it through the hook eye, and then we are going to just use our vise here and twist it up so that those are together, or twisted up almost like a single core. And once we've done that, we'll go ahead and trim the end off. And here is the fun part: we're going to make this into an ornament. So I found these ornaments off Amazon, but check out this Christmas tree alone. I'm pretty stoked with how it turned out. You can do these as quick or take as long as you want. The longer, of course, the better it might look. But this is something everyone could try. But here's the ornaments I found. I got them off Amazon. It was like $10 for a dozen or something. We're going to use our bodkin and heat it up. And here's how I found to get the tree so that it doesn't go all skewy in this ornament holder. So we're going to heat this up nice and hot so that it will go right through the plastic. I'm going to get really, really close to where the ornament eye is, and I'm just going to shove that bodkin right in and just kind of ream it out. Just big enough so that we can get that dual wire through there so that our Christmas tree hangs straight down. So we'll go ahead and fish that wire through, and we'll go ahead and pull it so that it's about the height we want. When you put it together, because we did it in the hole, it's not going to move. We'll go ahead and snap them together. And then just to hold this wire in place, we're just going to wrap it around these two eyes here. And I just wrap it around 2-3 times and then trim off the excess. So that's about the only way it's secured, but we'll go ahead and add some chenille to cover up that wire, because we got to hide all our trick trades here. And so look at that, there's the ornament. We're going to go ahead and grab some white chenille. You could also use whatever color you want. You could also get fancy hook holders, but I just am going to grab some of this chenille here that I have laying around, and we'll just pull it off. Get a longer section than you need, because you can always trim it off. We're going to go ahead and go through the eye. I'll wrap it around the base to cover up that wire and also hold it in place. And I'm using a little thread assister tool here. I can't remember where I bought these, but they come in super handy when you're trying to get the chenille through this hole. And then we'll go ahead and pull it through, wrap it around the base, and then we'll just do a regular knot on the top and trim off the excess, and it will hang perfectly on your tree. I'm pretty excited on how these are turning out. I don't have too many made, but maybe I'll start making one a year and make it a tradition, so that maybe eventually I might have a whole Christmas tree full of Christmas tree flies. But you can see right there, we made it just into a nice loop. We'll fit right over a branch, whether it's a real tree or a fake tree. But look at that. Looks really cool. Got an ornament of a Christmas tree for your Christmas tree. So try it out, and thanks for watching.